Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Woo, woo, woo. I got to tell you, my mom is a kindergarten teacher, and she tells me often that snow makes her kids crazy. I feel that today. Fellas, how are we? It's freaking cold out. It's freaking snowing. How are we feeling?
I'm feeling great. I went and got some supplies for the. I got donuts.
Are you going to make cute little forts and
No,
put
no.
up Christmas decorations?
Like
I put
food.
up my Christmas decorations, fellas. You're next.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Why? You're that fan? Like, are they outside as well? Did you put up your lights and stuff?
Well, she also has a new
No.
house, I think, is part of it.
Yeah, didn't put up lights yet, but like the inside, very cozy. There's a couple trees. We've got some
Couple
reindeers
trees.
out. Yeah, we have. I actually have 4 trees in my house.
What? Actual trees?
No,
Okay,
Fake-
so like,
fake
do
trees.
you have an actual Christmas tree yet?
no, I don't. I don't like real trees. They're kind of a mess.
Okay.
No, but he
Tell
said, do you mean like, does she have 3 or 4 decorated trees, or that's the plan? They will be decorated, all 4 of them in some
So yes,
form or fashion?
in the front room, everyone's like, "Shut up and talk football." No, in the front room by our main window, we will have our big tree that will be like very decorated. The other ones are just like snow covered little cutesy trees. They're still
Oh.
lit up, but they're just cutesy.
That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love Christmas music too. It's my favorite.
So good.
favorite. You know,
Some say it's the most wonderful time of the year.
it's the most wonderful
Time of the year.
We start to get ours out, and I think they'll be up probably by the time I get back from Kansas City.
Oh, so you're not going to help? You freaking
No.
loser.
I help
he's not
some. We have a
freaking
whole
out.
Christmas village. We do a whole.
Got to
Christmas
cover the
village thing.
Broncos.
Yeah.
No, we got a whole Christmas village thing that I tend to be in charge of. We've got a really big tree in our front, like foyer, and then a really nice tree in the corner of our living room, and then a Misfits tree in the basement with all the silly Jayhawk ornament and a Yankees ornament from my.
Tell us
from my
about every
neighbor.
ornament you have, please.
No, I'm just saying those are some of the silly ones we have.
No, I do have a plan. We'll get into football in a second, everybody. So pause. But I do have a plan that someday when I have children, there will be one tree that's dedicated to like the rinky dink little ornaments that they make or like sentimental ones. Like I already have a plan for that.
Why don't you put them all on the same tree and make it
Nope.
like?
Because the aesthetic. Sometimes the ornaments are ugly. They need to.
Okay.
They'll have their own tree, but they're not going to be on like the tree that's supposed to be aesthetic. You know.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, the Broncos take on the only undefeated team left standing in the NFL in the freaking Kansas City Chiefs that everybody's sick of seeing them win, but they're winning. They're good. They've got Patrick Mahomes, first in the AFC West. Broncos, third in the AFC West. Fellas, lot to unpack here. Obviously, Broncos got it handed to them a little bit against the Baltimore Ravens. Best defense versus best offense. Baltimore Ravens proved offense obviously matters. We know this in the world of football. How are we feeling? Immediate reactions as this Broncos team takes on the Chiefs this weekend. Do we think it's going to be a blowout?
I don't, even though it's their favorite. You know, the Chiefs are favored by 9, like 8.5, right? Is that what it is right now?
Yep.
Another slap in the face that the Broncos can use as motivation, and then Sean Payton, don't do that, Brandon, don't do that, don't do. All right. I think it's a slap in the face if you're a 9-point fucking underdog and you have a
It is.
winning
It's
record.
rude.
Okay.
Yeah, I was shaking my head about the spread.
Oh,
He disagrees with the spread. You
is it
think-
8.5 or 9? Isn't it?
I would
what
put
it
it
is?
at 6.5, but.
So BK saying that's too many points. Honestly, full
Okay,
transparency, we all thought it was too many points against the Ravens. It
Right.
wasn't. So
No.
there's a world where Vegas is right on the money with this. However, I will say that I think the Ravens offense is far more superior than the Chiefs offense right now, despite the Chiefs being undefeated. Maybe that's a hot take, but I think I fear the Ravens offense more than the Chiefs offense. That being said, we did see some steps being taken backwards for this Broncos defense that's been extraordinarily reliable, top 5 in every category, one of the best defenses in the league. Do we think this is a good opportunity or can this Broncos defense get back on track? And, I'm not saying they've fallen off track. It was a poor game in comparison to what we've seen from them all season long. Can they get some big stops, make some big defensive plays against Patrick Mahomes and the refs? Oops, did I say that out loud? My bad.
BK, you want to go with that?
I think that the Chiefs, and you look at, where the Broncos rank, like you mentioned, they're still top 5 in just about every category except third down when the Chargers game skewed that. But the Chiefs aren't the world-beating offense that we've seen. They just make
Right.
enough plays. Vance Joseph talked about that yesterday when the coordinator spoke, that he thinks it's a credit to both Patrick, and then I asked about Kelsey, and he said Travis as well, that those guys are kind of not necessarily even worrying about stats. And I don't know if that's true. I think they're calling the offense that makes sense for them in a lot of ways, but that they're not trying to dial it up and win Patrick another MVP or set a touchdown record with Kelsey or whatever it may be, that they're just taking what the defense is giving them, but also playing to their strengths. They've got a really good offensive interior with maybe the best center in football and 2 really good guards, and they're running the ball more than they've ever run it. And so when you look at it, their rushing isn't great. I mean, it's fine. It's middle of the pack at 14th, but they're staying committed to the run. And then Patrick knows where to find open guys when it matters, and they make plays. So I think there's an opportunity because the Broncos have played the Chiefs closer than I think anybody in the division, despite that 15-game losing streak that just was snapped last year. It's hard to say they're going to go to Arrowhead and definitely win, which none of us are saying that, but I don't think they're going to get boat raced like they ended up, like the score reflected in Baltimore.
Yeah, Liv, you mentioned the Ravens offense being superior. They have like 450 yards a game in their first, obviously, in the NFL, but the Chiefs have 100 yards less per game. They're 10th of the NFL offensively. So it's interesting. They don't have any top 10 categories on offense. Well, they do on possession average, but the only thing that they're really, really good at, and they're first in the NFL at this, is third down percentage. And that means they stay on the field. They don't have to punt. They keep the drives going, and they find ways to stay on the field. Exactly. And so the Broncos are going to have to find a way to get them off the field.
Get them off.
Get them off. Yeah,
Pause.
just get these guys off. That would be it would really take a turn there. But look, these in addition to that, these defenses are very similar. Brandon mentioned it. The Broncos defense top 5 in a lot of categories. So are the Chiefs. And actually, you look at these defensive ranks; they're very similar all the way down. Except, what's weird is the Chiefs don't get after the quarterback. They're tied for 26th in the league in sacks, whereas the Broncos are second. So if the Broncos, I think, can get after Patrick Mahomes, who's been hobbled, right? We've seen him limping, like, oh, my ankle, dude, my ankle. I don't know if I can come back in. I don't.
Is that your Kermit the Frog voice?
That's how he sounds. I'm here. So, and then he's always doing this. Why are you doing this?
But with a Texas twang, there's a little East Texas there too.
I'm here. So
that's better.
But they got to get after him, and so he to me he presents the biggest problem, but also the biggest opportunity with his injury or whatever he's dealing with. Get after him, get him on the ground. He's a human being. And if he starts feeling pain and feeling a little skittish back there, they have a chance. But, with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, it's made them a very – and this has also made Travis Kelce now like a bigger threat, because now you got to focus on DeAndre Hopkins out there, and then Travis Kelce kind of knows what to do when you're doing that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a big challenge. It's a huge challenge.
So here's the deal. Bo Nix already a tough quarterback to sack. He's very athletic. He's very mobile. He knows how to use his legs. And the Chiefs not being a great defense in terms of sacking that quarterback defense attack. If you need me to do the cheer, I will, but I won't.
Quarterback defense.
Sack that quarterback defense attack. Bang. Okay. So because the Chiefs struggle to sack quarterbacks and Bo Nix is a very tough quarterback already to sack, are we going to see Bo Nix in the pocket a little bit, dealing him out through the air?
I think we're going to see Bo Nix at least having the chance to make plays. When you look at the sack numbers for the Chiefs that Nate was talking about, they don't have a dynamic pass rusher. Chris Jones, with Aaron Donald now retired, is the best, I think, all-around interior defensive lineman, and that's why he's got 3 sacks on the year. And George Karlaftis is a nice player. He's only got 4. The Broncos have better edge rushers, and when you talk about what Zach Allen and JFM are able to do in the passing game too, in terms of disrupting the quarterback, we're seeing especially JFM in recent weeks get to the quarterback more. I think that's more dynamic than what the Chiefs have. And in fact, the Broncos have sacked Patrick Mahomes more than any team. And obviously you can really only compare it to the Raiders and Chargers, but they've sacked him 21 times in the 13 times they've played him. And he also had, I guess, that first start that he didn't have against the Chargers or Raiders his rookie year. But in 13 games against the Raiders, they have 20 sacks. The Broncos have 21. The Chargers in 11 games against Patrick so far, only 14 sacks. So they've gotten after it, and they've kept the games close. If you look just in recent in recent years, not only last year with the 19-9 loss on Thursday night, but the win here, which obviously not only did they keep close, they won, but they lost 27-24 in KC in 23. They lost here at home 34-28. They lost 28-24, 22-9, 22-16. The Broncos keep the games with the Chiefs close, and I don't know if Vegas is factoring that in, or and maybe they shouldn't because it's a different team every year. But I like the Broncos' chances to keep this close, get after Patrick, and for Bo Nix to make plays.
So you asked about Bo in the pocket, similar to the Ravens defense. The Chiefs have a very good run defense and not so great of a pass defense. And you wonder, was that because, like the Ravens, they're beating everybody and everybody's got to pass against them? Well, yes and no. I mean, the Chiefs, who are 8-0, and Brandon likes to do this when he's kind of like,
I'm thinking about the Ravens I'm thinking about their personnel on the back end. The Chiefs back end kind of stinks.
Yeah. So like the thing is, the Chiefs, who are 8-0, sorry. You always this kind of really, I don't know what do you thinking, Brandon? So the Chiefs, who are 8-0, have the lowest point differential of any 8-0 team in the history of the NFL. They're not blowing teams out. So the idea that everyone's got to pass against the Chiefs because they're down by 3 scores is not accurate. They're in close games. So this is, I think, more indicative of what this defense really is. They're a better run defense and not as good of a pass defense. So I do think that passing the football is going to be a heavy part of this game plan. And I think that if they're going to win, Bo Nix, as good as he is running around, and they might dial up some quarterback runs that could go for some first downs, maybe in the red zone. But ultimately, I think his ability to deal from the pocket is going to be maybe the difference. Now, you do still have to run the football. You have to run the football effectively. You have to focus on it. You can't overlook it because, hey, every team has a bad game. And just because they're good at running the foot or stopping the run, this season doesn't mean they will be on Sunday, right? So you have to try everything and be ready to pound the rock. But at the same time, I think Bo dealing in the pocket is going to be crucial for them getting a win at Yeehaw Stadium.
Yeah. Well, so you said we can't abandon the run, and I absolutely agree because it's still a category for me that I think the Broncos can continue to grow on, and I don't feel super confident in their run game just yet. Javonte Williams has had 72 carries for 285 yards and has scored 2 touchdowns in 4 games against the Chiefs in his career. However, those 2 touchdowns were actually receiving touchdowns. They were not rushing touchdowns. So world where we might see Javonte Williams in the end zone, but may not be on the ground, might be through the air. Find him through the air, Bo. Yeah, that's how I feel. And Courtland Sutton, I mean, he's arguably the most reliable receiver of Bo Nix. And in 9 games through his career versus the Chiefs, he's had 29 catches for 442 yards and has only scored twice through those 9 games in his career. So,
yikes.
Hey!
29 catches in 9 games. That's 3 catches a game, Courtland. I mean, hopefully
that's the opposite of Travis Kelce's numbers against the Broncos. If you look at Travis Kelce's numbers, he's had basically a Pro Bowl season against them in however many games he's played, 16, 18 games. It's been, 100 and something catches, 8 touchdowns, 1,000 yards. But the one thing with Courtland, and I didn't realize this because we know he made the Pro Bowl in 2019, that even when he received that honor and was playing that well before the knee injury, we've just seen his first ever back-to-back 100-yard games. I don't know. I understood the idea of the gap between his last 100-yard game. I just didn't realize that he never did it back-to-back. So maybe there's an opportunity here, especially if he's matched up on the younger corner, and maybe he's not necessarily younger because they're about the same age, but Johnson, who missed all of last year, played a handful of games as a 7th-round draft pick 2 years ago, didn't play at all last year and has now played in 7 games this year. I think there's a vulnerability there. I think McDuffie on the other side, who was a 1st-round pick out of Washington, mind you, at the end of the 1st round, but McDuffie, I think, is pretty good. So if you can keep Sutton away from him and pick on Najee Johnson, I like Courtland's chances to maybe have his best game against the Chiefs, and we know that bar is a little low right now.
Hot take, maybe. I think this is a big game for the Broncos to continue to build on our tight ends, okay? The Kansas City Chiefs right now allowing the most on the season, the most yards to opposing tight ends at 643. We saw on National Tight End Day, Bo Nix dealing a little bit more to our tight ends. It seemed to work, both of which scored when being used in the red zone. So liking that and wondering maybe this is a good opportunity because we haven't seen Courtland Sutton perform all that well against the Chiefs through 9 games in his career. Javonte Williams and our ground game, not overly reliable enough for me to want to even bet on it. But maybe you look at a sneaky little tight end touchdown or some overs on our tight ends to get used by Bo through the air. Just saying.
I like that. And, I think there's a little psychology involved in a team like the Chiefs giving up so much to tight ends because every day at practice, they give up a lot to tight ends. Travis Kelce is a focal point. Don't do that, dude. Don't do that.
I'm just agreeing with you, dude.
Is that agreeing? Not this is agreeing.
I'm like, this is a good point. Sorry.
No, BK's nodding.
I'm still trying to
it's
figure out.
not like a diagonal.
Like,
Yeah,
I
he doesn't-
figure out
like
what that-
bobbleheads around me, so I'm just kind of like,
Just tap a
Bobble
bobble
along.
when you're thinking about
He's
it.
a bobblehead.
But no,
BK the bobblehead.
there's some psychology to your team when they see that all the time, and it's like, oh, every day at practice, Travis Kelce just cooking them, and they're throwing, and so these guys get used to that in a weird way, and so you go out there on game day and it happens again, and so I think the Broncos absolutely and Sean Payton absolutely needs to go throw the ball to those tight ends. I mean, those guys they occupy the middle of the field. I think they're ready for the challenge, and I think when you're playing against a team like the Chiefs, who do rely so heavily on the tight ends in your room, hey, what about us? What about us? Throw us the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to be tight ends that get accolades. We want to be tight ends that are talked about. How about you throw us the ball, coach? And so I think it would be smart of Sean Payton to get these guys involved because they'll be so ready for that fight. They want to go out there and prove that they're, maybe they're not just as good as Travis Kelce, but they want to prove they are. They want to prove that they're just as worthy as getting 18 targets in a game like Travis Kelce probably did last week when he caught 14 balls. Throw the tight ends the ball 15 times. See what happens.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it, right? So I agree with you, Liv. I think this could be a game. Also sloppy conditions maybe at the field. It's going to be raining on Saturday, not raining on Sunday. That it's going to be 60 and sunny at game time. But a sloppy field favors those big bodies in the middle of the field.
Yeah, my Kansas Jayhawks are taking on Iowa State in a game that will really help the Buffs. KU has basically disappointed all season long, but they can help out Coach Prime and Travis Hunter and Shador and company if they can beat Iowa State, because Iowa State needs to lose one of these games, and then the Buffs have a straight line to the Big 12 championship game. But so you get that game
Quick
on air.
plug to the Jayhawks. Quick plug to the Jayhawks.
It's happening at Arrowhead Field, right?
Yeah,
at 1:30 Saturday. I almost looked at changing my flight, but I don't want to fly in the middle of the snowstorm just to watch a bad football team. Anyway, if I was going to go, I'd go tonight to watch the Tar Heels take on the Jayhawks at Allen Fieldhouse, but we've got a Nuggets game to cover, Liv. And so, but you're right about the field conditions. Where Arrowhead, it doesn't necessarily have as bad a rap as maybe like Heinz Field or whatever that's called now in Pittsburgh, but it's not or Wembley Stadium, which we know people always complain about, but it's not a great surface anyway. And it rained there obviously Monday night. I think it's rained throughout the week, and they keep it in good shape. But if the Jayhawks and Cyclones rip it up pretty good, it's going to be hard to turn it around and have great footing on Sunday, even if the weather's nice. And so I think you're right there. I did pull up Travis Kelce's numbers. He hasn't lit the world on fire against the Broncos lately. He did have 9 catches for 124 in that Thursday night game, no scores. He does have all-time 116 catches, 1,472 yards, 6 TDs. He hadn't scored those since 2022, and then he scored once in 2021. So he's not always finding the end zone, but he does find soft spots in the Broncos defense when he's played them. And so we'll see which version of Travis Kelce we get. Will Taylor Swift be there? Her tour's over, so I imagine we'll see her. I think she was there on Monday after her tour ended. So if I see her, I'll tell her you said hi, Liv.
Yes, please do. Please do. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully weather isn't a huge issue when we look ahead to Sunday, but obviously these are things you have to consider, especially given the state of Colorado right now. It's hard not to think about weather because yuck.
Is it snowing by you guys? It's snowing by me for sure.
Oh yeah.
It's dumping. It is dumping.
Yeah.
I already on my daily update today was like, yeah, if we have a Nuggets game, I might be live from home tonight because it's pretty brutal outside. Honestly, I ran one quick errand for my car this morning because I was thinking I was going to be driving downtown this morning and wanted to make sure everything was good. And by the time I left, it was like very different outside than when I got there. So if it keeps going this direction, I'll probably be live doing some pregame, halftime, postgame here from home. But hey, that's the whole reason I've got a home setup is to keep content crushing no matter what. We do have a comment here. They said, "What's up, Liv and crew?" from Joe on the X space. What's up, Joe?
What up, Joe?
How you feeling, Joe? What's up? BK, say hi to Joe, for God's sake.
Stop. Thanks,
Bobblehead
Joe. What's
BK,
Joe's comment?
not
Is
paying
Joe just saying
attention.
what's up, or is there more
Yeah,
to
we're
it?
just
Saying
saying
what's
what's up
up.
to
Oh,
Joe.
what's up,
He's in the-
Joe?
Yeah, come on. What the heck? Get it together, BK. All right, so big tight end game. That's kind of my hot take. But I do want to talk about the fact that we've kind of briefly mentioned this before on the show. The fact that last season, not in both games, but in one of those games, the Broncos were able to compete and get a win against the Kansas City Chiefs. Quick answer, yes or no, before I ask the second question to this question. Are the Broncos, nod or shake, or BK, in BK's case, do this if you agree. Do you think the Broncos are better prepared this season to compete with the Chiefs than they were last season?
Better prepared, better equipped, I guess.
Better equipped.
I mean, last year they had Russell Wilson. He wasn't great on the Thursday night game, and he was actually worse in the win at home. If you ask people in that building at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit, that Russ left a lot of points out there, and the offense left a lot of points because he just wasn't seeing things that were out there available to him and that were open. So Bo Nix, we know, is going to run whatever Sean dials up because of how well the defense is playing, and you get now maybe a little clarity in your pass rush rotation with the Baron Browning trade and Jonathan Cooper getting re-signed. Not that necessarily changed the rotation that much, but you can have Baron, or you can have Cooper and Benito certainly out there in your big downs. And I think that, yeah, they probably are a little bit better equipped, although the lack of dynamic playmakers, not that they had more last year, but not being able to unlock Troy Franklin yet, really, or utilize Marvin Mims, and only relying on Sutton and I guess Javonte, really, little Jaleel. I think, yeah, they're slightly more equipped, but I don't know if this is the best chance they have. You know, like this version of this roster is going to go toe to toe with them game in, game out for the next 3 years.
Nate?
As Joe says, equipped, no. Prepared, yes. I think the talent level is probably pretty similar from last year. I mean, the big change was at quarterback. Yes, you lost Justin Simmons, but you got a safety playing pretty well, Brandon Jones. You got some additions, I think, young additions who are still revealing whether or not they're going to be players in this league. So equipped, no, but prepared, yes, because Sean Payton's been here for 2 years now. He's been able to implement his system. Guys know what to expect more. They're starting to figure out situationally relative to what he expects. They're becoming a smarter football team because of it. So I think that, they are better prepared for this challenge because Sean Payton is at the helm. He's a very good coach. And there are good coaches on this coaching staff who are a lot better than Nathaniel Hackett was at telling these guys how they're going to go about beating a team like the Chiefs at home at Gihah, which is a very hard place to play.
Can I ask you guys
Frank? No. Put that Frank comment up on the screen really quick. Dead serious. I know for a fact that this is cap. I know for a fact this is cap because one thing I was literally thinking about the other day, there is not one person on this planet that could ever say they've met me and I've been a rude person. Not one. People that piss me off, rude for sure. So unless you were a Bulldog fan and you were barking in my face and you flip me off, there's no way this is fact. But I would love to actually meet you sometime and have a very good conversation because I know for a fact this is false. Anyway, we can keep going.
That's not cool. Frank coming on our show and calling her name.
Frank. I thought you just said
how many opportunities?
Because I wasn't there.
Let's be real. How many opportunities has Frank had to join a show and say that? That is the most random. That thing was how many years ago was the championship game? He said you were.
Well, they
drunk.
have one every year.
He said the one TCU was in, the one I was at.
Okay.
He says his next comment says you were drunk. That's also cap. No, I was not. There's literally, this is just a bunch
maybe you were drunk, Frank.
Right. My God.
Yeah, I mean, Frank was drunk.
He was mad because he hit on you, and you're like, nah.
Maybe.
Not feeling it, Frank.
Maybe Frank is in his feelings. I have no idea. But anyway, we can keep going. That was just I saw that comment. I was like, let me debunk this because I am not a rude person. Every person I meet, I'm actually very nice upon meeting them. It's just when you piss me off, do you get a mean side of me. But anyway, we can keep going. So
well, I want to throw a question at you guys.
Okay, let's hear it.
Andy Reid and Sean Payton, while they aren't contemporaries, they're certainly in that older. They are contemporaries. They aren't the exact same age. Like John Harbaugh and I think Sean are almost the exact same age. But they're in the same crew of older coaches that have been coaching for a long, long time here in the league. And so with Pete Carroll not in coaching right now, maybe not again, Bill Belichick, obviously not right now. there's only a handful of these guys, and I guess Jim Harbaugh now rejoins it. But Sean and Andy just they went, I think, head to head some with the Eagles and Saints a few times, but then Andy's been in KC for all these years, and Sean was in New Orleans, so they don't see each other very much. But I guarantee you, if we were to poll all 32 coaches, and whether you voted for yourself or not, 30 of them would say that Sean and Andy, and they may even admit it themselves, are the two coaches, like, would they be 1 and 2 with trying to get a little too cute, it feels like, or outsmarting themselves to show off all the cool things that they've diagrammed, which is why Kadarius Toney gets a snap instead of Patrick Mahomes. And thankfully for Broncos fans, he screws that up when they're inside the 10. And we've seen that for years. Now the Chiefs have won a bunch of championships, so you can't be that mad. And Mahomes has played great, but they do get a little cute. And so I wonder, when Sean matches up with Andy Reid, and I guess vice versa, does he go out of his way to dig in
like
his bag?
Beauty pageant. They're both trying to
kind of like a beauty pageant to try to show off, even if he doesn't realize it. Like, is there a subconscious, oh, I've got something for these guys?
But are the
And we've seen
Broncos really in a position to show off right now?
that Sean Payton doesn't look at the world like that.
Well, he should.
I think when it comes to trying to figure out
But no, I hear you.
when it comes to trying to figure out how to win the game, that's
Brandon,
different. But I think
yeah.
there'll be times where
I think it's less about, I think it's less about the cuteness that he's going to try to show off, less about him trying to out cute Andy Reid than him trying to find a way to win a game that he thinks he's outmatched in, perhaps, and so he's going to try to pull a rabbit out of the hat instead of
underestimated in with the 9.5 point spread. And, people already talking about the fact that they just got handed a big old loss by,
even at 30.5, they still would have.
But to me, the way you go find a way to win up there is you overwhelm them with your energy. And you go in there believing, knowing you're going to go win, and going and physically kicking the shit out of them. And this is what you do. This is what you preach. We are going to go in there and be the bullies. We are not going to get pushed around. We're trying to establish our physicality from the first play. And if we got to get a penalty on us or a personal foul or roughing the passer to do it, I don't give a shit. We're going to go and rub them in the dirt. We're going to attack them. We are going to start off running the football on offense. We're going to get in 3-point stance, and we're going to fire off and hit these guys and let them know that we're going to be coming all day long. That's right. I said it. We're going to be coming all day long. And so that's what I think they need to establish against this team. That's what they need to establish, the physical bully in this game. And if they can't, then they're going to get pushed around. And I think that's the only way the Broncos are going to win this game. They're not going to win a cute off. They need to go be the bullies.
No cute offs. They got to be coming all day long, and they got to be bullies.
Yes.
Basically, to wrap up what he said, that's what he said. Unless you stopped listening after the coming all day long thing, he was just saying you got to give it to him.
There's other ways to use that word, and I was using it in a football way. We have to attack.
Football is a filthy thing to talk about. I've learned.
Yeah, there's all those great social media clips where they string together a bunch of the NFL, big time announcers, and Joe Buck and Ian Eagle and Kevin Harlan, and everything they say can come across as very dirty. Chris Collinsworth and Troy Aikman with very accurate use of the English language that's easy to take to a dirty place. So
give us an example, BK.
Great.
Well, I'd rather just find one online. I'd rather have Jay just find one online and drop it into our show. Let me see if I can find one, because it's funnier hearing Joe Buck say something silly about
penetrate the deep ball.
Yeah, or they'll talk about ramming it down there, whatever, or this or that, and so you can interpret it however you want. Most people just
ramming it down there, whatever. That's a good one.
Yeah, and they'll be more detailed than that. I'm just off the top of my head. Throwing that out there. But to your point about the intensity off the top and like just coming in and bringing it, we've seen the Raiders went there last year in December and won, and the Chargers have gone there and won.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years. When you see a team twice a year, it's just a different game. Look at what we've seen with the Ravens and Bengals here twice this year and how loose those games got, but how close they were and how fun, certainly fun too, because I think a 35-34 game is more fun than a 10-9 game. And the Broncos have played the Chiefs tough, and so they won't come out scared, but they just don't have that same margin for error that they had against bad teams. And Sean mentioned it when they turned the ball over a couple times against Carolina. No big deal. You turn over against the Ravens and they make you pay from the jump, And same thing will happen with the Chiefs. You cannot lose a turnover battle. The reason they were in the games last year in the game in the Thursday nighter where they lose 19-9 were all the takeaways. And then obviously at home, they took the ball away a bunch and then made enough plays. But I think that this might be another one where maybe you do, if you win the toss, you take the ball first. It didn't go great for the Broncos last week, but they were moving the ball before the turnover.
That's true.
You know what's so I was talking about the energy, the attack, and the kind of the overwhelming them with your presence. It's harder to do now because of the kickoff. It's not a physical play anymore. Like, the cool thing I loved about being on special team was I was on the first play of the game no matter what. I knew that. And we're trying to set the tone. So we're going to run down there. Like, I know you've never heard of this movie, Liv, but Braveheart battles.
I have heard of the damn movie.
No, you haven't. Okay. Who's in it? Who's in it?
A lot of cool people are in that one.
Have you ever heard
I don't know if Mel Gibson's that cool these days. At least
have you heard of Mel Gibson?
Jewish
Have you heard
brother.
of
Yes, I have.
Okay. Well, Mel Gibson's in that movie, and these guys run at each other full speed with axes and swords and shit. And that's basically what a kickoff used to be. And you could go set the tone, sprinting down, 10 dudes, crack, and then you hype up the defense who's running on after you. Like, they get all excited because you just laid a dude out. You can't do that anymore. And so it's a very anticlimactic beginning to these football games. And I hate what this new kickoff has done to it.
Check this out. The Broncos win. I guarantee it. 30-10 final score.
Love it. That's Brandon Perna. That's Brandon Perna.
It is. And he's thinking the Broncos get a big old fat dub on the AFC West division rival Kansas City Chiefs, undefeated little sissy woo-woos. Whoa. I'm liking it. Do you think it's possible? Do they win? No, okay, one, is it possible that they can win this game? My answer, yes. I think all of our answers, yes. If they do everything right, yes, they can. But can they win a convincing game like 30-10 Broncos?
That's pretty convincing.
That's convincing as heck.
Yeah. I think, I think it would mean, a lot of things would go the Broncos' way. Some turnovers. They win the turnover battle.
Big plays.
Right? Big plays. Maybe a big special teams play. Maybe Marvin Mims breaks one on a punt.
Oh, a correction here. He said, I meant 30-20, but screw it. I said 10. I'm fine with either.
Okay.
30-20 is still good for me.
Appreciate Brandon Perna tuning in, by the way. If you want to tell some of your loyal subscribers to check us out more regularly, we'll happily accept that high recommendation from our guy Brandon, and that's good sports. I applaud that confidence. 30-20 though feels like the type of win where all those things that you said happen, Nate, and it's still, the Chiefs are going to get 20 because they're the Chiefs. I think maybe if it was like even a 24-10, you'd be like, okay, what's going on at 24-13? If they can not only win, but win by, just call it double digits or 9 or more, so it's the opposite of where the spread is, double basically. I think that would send a message to the league that, hey, the Ravens thing it obviously didn't go well, but that they're going to be, the Broncos are going to be in the playoff mix.
Yeah. Did you guys scale up 1 to 10? How much hope is a big word? How much, but we'll say hope, but just know that it's not like, I'm not saying this is devastating, but how much hope did you lose in a potential playoff run after the Ravens game for the Broncos? 0 being none at all, 10 being you lost a lot of hope.
I didn't lose any at all. I would say 0 to 1. I think the Broncos still have it all in front of them. They're 5-4. They have a winning record. And with, after this game, they got some games there, some winnable games ahead on the schedule. So I think that it's in there, the ball's in their court there with that. They're going to have to play better and better. Stop it, Len. What are you doing? Get your mind out of the gutter, please. It is in their court, and they do have their destiny in their own hands.
It's just funny sometimes, okay?
I think the Broncos had a bad game against the Ravens. I think they saw what it's going to take to be an elite team in the NFL. You can't make mistakes. You can't shoot yourself in the foot. If you're going to be aggressive, you got to make those 4th down conversions. You got to be buttoned up inside of 2 minutes. You got to control the ball. You got to manage the clock better. This is Sean Payton being better as well. But I think they got a really good glimpse at what the best football in the world looks like right now, and that is the Ravens. That's what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And so now they get to go and learn from that. And I think that, every ascending team has those moments where they get punched in the mouth, they go back and figure out where they need to get better. The Broncos had that last week. I think they can tighten it up, and I think they are going to tighten up, and I think they will be in the playoff hunt.
Joe, really quick, Joe from X made a really great point here. Divisional games are always winnable, and we have talked about this on this very show. You can't face a Raiders team, and just because they have a beaten down roster, assume that it's a winnable game for the Broncos. Every division rival, I think every division game to me is a rivalry. I've just always viewed it that way as a Broncos fan. So really great point there that, listen, there could be the Chiefs could have their guard down a little bit after watching last week's game. I think they're too well coached for that, and they're too much of a smart football team to let their guard down. But, any division game, in my opinion, is capable of being extremely competitive and extremely winnable, even for a 9.5-point underdog in the Broncos. So BK, go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to pull that comment up because that was a good one.
No, all good. And when you talk about the young team that the Broncos core is building around and building up, the season is marked with tests. So early in the year, tough loss to the Steelers, they bounce right back and go out and get not only one good road game, but stay on the East Coast or Eastern time zone and get 2 tough road wins. They get their teeth kicked in for 3 quarters by the Chargers, make it a game late, we think, sort of, but at least made the score close. And then they come back the next week and just stomp the Saints on a short week. So the season's filled with these tests. So now you go to play your toughest road opponent of the year so far, and they beat your butt. So now you get a chance to not only bounce back with a win, but against another tough team. And if you want to be a playoff team every year, you have to know that week in, week out, you're going to get other teams' best shots and play the top teams and be even with them and win some games against them. So it's just a scheduling gods, maybe doing the Broncos a favor in terms of learning how to not only try to bounce back, but hey, there's not just always going to be cupcakes after a tough loss like there was with the Saints JV team that was out there when the Broncos lost to the Chargers. And so I think that this really is kind of a good back-to-back barometer, check for the Broncos, but to see this team on the road this week coming off that tough loss.
Couple things, Sean Payton, very good game planner. He's been at this for a long time, so he's going to come up with a good plan for them to go in there and win. The Chiefs played Monday night, so they're on a short week, a little bit, and they're also playing the Bills next week, which is a big matchup. So there's a couple pieces here that might contribute to them maybe being a little weakened, a little looking to the next week, maybe a little banged up. And then, of course, Sean Payton's his acumen, his track record is why you pay him so much. He's the second highest paid coach in the league, I think, because for this game, for this reason. So to beat the Chiefs and Andy Reid, that's why you're brought here. Not so you could compete and go 8-9 and 9 to win the fucking division. That's why Sean Payton's here. Andy Reid's not going anywhere. They're the Super Bowl champions. To be the best, you got to beat the best. So Sean Payton has a lot to prove as far as why he was hired here. And he came here knowing full well that in order to be considered a success, he would have to dismantle this Chiefs organization in his own way. So the pressure's on Sean Payton to get his team ready to play this game.
I agree. Before we get out of here, fellas, do you guys let's all decide and any time, I think based on hearing us all talk, I think that we all agree that the Broncos can cover in this game. For them to get a win would just be kind of a bonus here. But I think we all three share the same thought that 9.5 is a lot of points for, yes, a Broncos team that just got beat in a pretty brutal way to the best offense in the league. But prior to that, really making some strides in the right direction. So 9.5 feels like a lot of points. I think we all agree that they can cover in this one. But let's all provide an anytime touchdown scorer to the people before we get out of here. BK, do you want to go first?
Assuming he's healthy, and he was the other night, although he had a big drop, although I guess he had a touchdown catch too. But Samaje Perine, it feels like Andy's one of those coaches that will happily say, "Oh, they let you go." Well, and we get it. We understand the economics, but we're gonna get Samaje Perine a touchdown just to say, "Hey, man, why did you let that guy go?" And by the way, thanks for letting him go.
Yeah, that's being cute, right?
That is cute.
Yeah,
but that's my pick. I'm probably gonna put him in a parlay or two.
All right. Well, then Sean Payton will say, "I see your P Ryan touchdown, and I raise you an Audric Estime touchdown because he's the guy we kept instead of him." Oh,
Ah.
well, I see Audric Estime getting in the end zone.
Love
Okay.
it. Okay, I think we've got some really unique choices here. So I'm gonna go Troutman. I'm gonna go Troutman. I'm gonna go big. I think that the tight ends get used in this one. It's feeling like it's a good valued play here at plus 950. Again, the Chiefs allowing the most yards on average to tight ends, opposing tight ends in the league right now. So this is a good opportunity for me. And they don't sack quarterbacks very well. Bo Nix is tough to sack. I think Bo Nix in the pocket a little more, dealing it out through the air. I'm going to go Troutman here. So I think we all have some pretty unique anytime touchdown scores this week, but I like them. I like them a lot.
Hey, real quick before we get out, we can't play the video because it's copyrighted, but we can play the audio as long as we give credit. I'm going to see if I can play some funny clips from football announcers, see if it'll let me play it back here. I'm going to try real quick. Where'd it go? I had it, and then it went away.
I had it, and I lost it.
I had here we go. Here we go. See, tell me if y'all can hear this. Let's just try first. Can you hear this? Just give me a yes. Could you hear that?
The answer is no.
Okay, hang on. So I'm gonna take my mic out, and you'll definitely hear it.
Oh, okay.
Brandon cannot figure it out. No, not happening.
Couldn't hear it.
Weird.
Maybe next time. Maybe
sometimes it works. Sometimes that'll work when I can play back through, and sometimes it won't. So sorry.
Next time. We'll get them next time, BK.
Yeah.
So we've got we dealt you some unique touchdown scores for this one that hopefully we can throw in a couple parlays. I think the three of us all agree that the Broncos can cover in this game. They got pushed around, shoved around a little bit against Baltimore. And like Nate said, in order for them to compete in this game, they've got to be coming all day and they've got to be bullies in this one. And if they can do that, and BK thinks, hey, let's have a little cute off here between Andy Reid and Sean Payton, who can be cuter. Sounds like a good football game to me, fellas, honestly.
Yeah, I see your flea flicker and I raise you a double reverse pass.
Will we see Sutton to Bo Nix again? That's the question.
Nah, you'll see
we see it this week, but
yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see a fake punt, maybe something.
Riley Dixon, yeah.
Okay, I love it. All right, well, we will have you covered all things Broncos on Sunday. Nate, I believe you're doing a live watch along with maybe, did I hear some Chiefs fans, ?
Yeah, there will be a Chiefs fan there. And if you want to check out Dumb Jock, I had him on Dumb Jock to kind of make fun of each other's fan bases and stuff that and teams. So he's going to be watching it. And then we're going to do, Liv, you'll be there for the post-game show. And we'll do a post-game show.
I'm going to join you for the post-game show. BK will be out there. So we'll try to toss to him and see what he's seeing and hearing and how he's feeling. And we'll get some clips from coach talking and players talking post-game. We'll have you covered for all things Denver Broncos on Sunday. So make sure you're tuning into all things Guerrilla Sports. Again, we'll also have you covered tonight for the Nuggets game. I will probably be home if it keeps dumping the way it's dumping outside. BK will probably do the same, but we will be giving you all things Nuggets coverage tonight. Also Sunday, I'll be dividing and conquering my Sunday, doing Broncos with Nate after the Broncos game and then doing Nuggets afterwards as they take on the Mavericks. So all that to say, Guerrilla Sports has got you covered for all things sports 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We never sleep. No rest for the weak or for the
wicked.
For the
weary. For the weary.
No rest for the weary. For any of them.
Okay. Well, just like movies, I don't know sayings apparently. So I'll just go hide back under my rock now that we're finished here. But
go watch
Braveheart.
Go watch Braveheart. It's a snowy day. It is a 3-hour movie. I know you'll probably have to do it in like 5 sessions. But go. It's an epic film.
All right, fine.
Have you seen Old School? Just go watch Old School.
No,
why don't you guys? You know what, BK? You were supposed to make me a playlist of music. I should know.
I know.
You never
I'll
did.
just start it now. Today's a good day to do it.
And I need a list of movies that are must-watch movies
Braveheart's one of them.
From when you guys were when dinosaurs were roaming the earth while you guys walked to school. Okay.
Do you want to laugh? Do you want to cry? Do you want to think?
No. Start with Die Hard, Braveheart, Ace Ventura.
What about Ferris Bueller?
Sure. Yeah.
You can skip that.
Okay, skip it.
Well, all those
right.
John Hughes
Don't
movies.
start
I guess
with
we're gonna pick one. I'd start with Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
I've seen Breakfast Club. When they get detention,
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
They get
seen that.
detention. Yep.
Seen it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Hated
Okay, well,
it.
you guys are the best. Thank you, BK. Thank you, Nate. Stay safe, stay warm. If you're driving, please drive carefully. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will, like I said, have you posted and up to date on all things Denver Broncos on Sunday. So make sure you're tuning in. Hit the follow, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and we'll catch you Sunday. Go Broncos.
Bye.